Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News here on Rajya TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Modi to hold bilateral talks with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Key bullet train deal expected to be signed. Two leaders to visit Varanasi later in the day. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari arrives in Turkmenistan on a three-day visit. Meets the President. Will address a peace, security and development summit today. A Spanish police officer is killed and at least 7 injured after Taliban attack embassy district in Kabul. Car bomb goes off near the Spanish embassy. The National Green Tribunal orders a ban on registering diesel vehicles in Delhi. Directs the centre and Delhi government not to buy new diesel vehicles for its departments. The Delhi government now studies the order. And world leaders work overnight to strike a climate deal in Paris. India hits back at developed countries, accusing it of not yielding ground on emissions. Our top focus today, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who is on a three-day visit to India, will hold summit-level talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Both the leaders are expected to sign key agreements, including a deal to build a bullet train network in India. After the talks, both leaders will leave for a short trip to Varanasi. Earlier on Friday, Abe had held talks with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj. Here's a report.
A warm welcome for the Japanese Prime Minister, who was received by Minister of State for Finance Jayant Sinha at the Palam airport. Shinzo Abe's first engagement was a brief meeting with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, who apprised him of the importance India attaches to its relationship with Japan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also welcomed Abe through Twitter, saying this visit will deepen India-Japan relations. Later, the Japanese Premier addressed the Japan-India Innovation Seminar, assuring maximum cooperation to bring about development in India.
Japan will continuously offer cooperation for the development of India, with the governments and private sector working together. Japan and India share basic values, and that is why ensuring closer coordination between the two nations in every field will be critically important for Asia and the world in this century.
Abe and Modi will hold the 9th annual summit talks on Saturday. Both leaders are expected to review implementation of decisions taken over the last 1 year, particularly in trade and investment. A number of agreements are also expected to be signed, prominent among them being the 98,000 crore deal to build India's first bullet train network. After the summit-level talks, Abe will visit Modi's constituency, Varanasi, where he will see the Ganga Aarti. With Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Inputs, Rajya TV.
Well, for more on what to expect today, we're joined by correspondent Akhilesh Suman joining us on the phone line now. Akhilesh, as far as India-Japan ties are concerned, it has been increasing in the past few months, especially with the blossoming friendship that we're seeing between the two Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Narendra Modi as well. And, this is going to be an exciting relationship that are to come in the next few months and years, in fact, especially with that bullet train deal.
Yeah, naturally, Tracy, Japan has been one of the biggest investors in our infrastructure sector. So I think that this is not new, very new to India. But what is the problem? What was the problem? That Japan was feeling skeptical whether the investment in India is now easy, whether the investment will be secure. And these are the things that are coming because of different laws and rules being changed over time. So now Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured Japan in his visits and then several meetings with Shinzo Abe that yes, India is now a better destination, rather best destination for Japan, because China is already maturing. There is no further investment opportunity in China. And India is a country which is the largest democracy in the world with maximum youth power. So Japan is very much interested. When you talk to Japanese, they will always tell that India has a human power and Japan has a technical power. So both are complementary to each other. So I think this is the catch words in the mind of Shinzo Abe, that he's coming and he's showing extraordinary bonhoming with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and know that he will go to Varanasi, to where there is a plan that the city should be developed on the lines of Kyoto in Japan. So I think that this is going to be one of the visits that India will be signing. I think also the nuclear operationalization of nuclear agreement, which will give India more reactors and also see the routes of tracing the nuclear fuel cycle that world is skeptical of, that whether the civilian nuclear fuels are going into a strategic sectors or not. So I think that India want to assure Japan that whatever civilian nuclear cooperation is going on, it will not be used for strategic purposes.
All right.
So this other than that, there will be agreement on bullet train. There will also be agreement on a speed train,
Yes.
also on smart cities. So there are so many things on cards between India and Japan, and let's see that what happens after 2 hours when Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe meets and declares the future of the two countries.
All right, Akhilesh, thanks so much for running that for us. We'll come back to you for more updates through the day. Thank you. Meanwhile, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari arrived in Ashgabat, the capital of hydrocarbon-rich Central Asian nation Turkmenistan, on a 3-day visit. The Vice President was received at the airport by the governor of the Ahil province. The Vice President will then address an international conference on peace, security and development today. The conference is expected to be attended by around 20 heads of state and governments to mark the 20th anniversary of the permanent neutrality of Turkmenistan. On Sunday, Mr. Ansari will participate in the groundbreaking ceremony of the ambitious 4-nation gas pipeline that will start from Turkmenistan and crisscross through Afghanistan, Pakistan to reach India. Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan is also travelling with the Vice President to participate in this event. Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani and Turkmenistan's President Urbangali Berdimuhammedov Muhammadev will also be present at Mari, over 300 kilometers east of the capital Ashgabat, on this occasion. Now, after the successful visit of External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj to Pakistan, the foreign secretaries of the two countries will now be meeting next month in Delhi to work out the details of the newly announced comprehensive bilateral dialogue. Pakistani Prime Minister's advisor on foreign affairs, Sartaj Aziz, while making a statement in their parliament, said that the secretaries will decide on the modalities and schedule of the comprehensive dialogue. He also said that all issues, including Kashmir, would be part of the peace talks under the agreed formula for the fresh re-engagement with India. Also saying that terrorism would be discussed by the two national security advisors as part of this comprehensive bilateral dialogue. All right, now on to Parliament proceedings that took place on Friday, or for that matter, didn't take place. There was no let-up in the confrontationist attitude of the opposition Congress in Rajya Sabha. The standoff between the government and the opposition stalled proceedings for almost the entire day.
For the 4th day in a row, the Congress continued its offensive against the government in the Rajya Sabha, levelling the same charge of political vendetta. Party members marched into the well of the House. The 0 hour was stalled. Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian appealed to members to allow the House to function. The chair then adjourned the House first till 11:30 and then till noon.
I am adjourning the House at 12:00 hours.
Amid protests, the question hour was also disrupted. Minister of State for Agriculture responded to a query on checking the spiralling prices of pulses.
बस हम दालों का बफर स्टॉक तैयार करिए जो तक खरीद नहीं हुई थी और अभी 2 दिन पहले कैबिनेट ने निर्णय लिया है कि दालों की खरीद FCI, SFAC के थ्रू की जाएगी और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स के तहत को PSC दालों का इंपोर्ट बिकेगी जिससे सस्ती दाल जनता को मुहैया कराई जा सके.
After repeated appeals to allow the question hour, the chair adjourned the House till 2:30 p.m.
House is adjourned till 2:30.
Since Tuesday, the Congress is protesting against what it calls the government taking recourse to the politics of revenge against the entire opposition. The government, on the other hand, says the Congress is holding the parliament to ransom, even as it claims it's ready to discuss the contentious issues. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And the situation was more or less the same in Lok Sabha. Congress members continued their protest against the remarks made by a BJP MP on Wednesday and demanded an apology. On failing to get one, members of the Congress, the TMC and other opposition parties walked out of the House.
Lok Sabha MPs paid homage to the martyrs of the parliament attack as soon as the House met for the day. But soon after that, when questioned, Congress party raised the issue of BJP MP Virendra Singh's unparliamentary comments. During 0 hour, leader of the Congress in the House, Mallikarjun Kharge, said if Singh was unwilling to apologize, he must be suspended. TMC backed Congress on this demand.
हमारे नेताओं के खिलाफ अगर ऐसी बातें करते रहे, ऐसी गंदी बात करते रहे और अपने आप को बहुत श्रेष्ठ मानते हैं और जो कुछ वो कर रहे हैं वो बहुत अच्छा है ये कहते हैं, इसीलिए अगर आप उनको सस्पेंड कीजिए ना, वो अनकंडीशनल अपॉलॉजी पूछिए, नहीं है तो हमको कोई रास्ता नहीं। ऐसे एटीट्यूड से, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट उनको सपोर्ट कर रही है।
Let one apology be made over here. Let the house run smoothly. It is your intention, madam. I believe it that the house should run. And Mr. Khargeji, since yesterday, since 3-4 days, the matter is being discussed. House is not allowing to be run properly. We have become part of it, no doubt. But why this man is getting support from the government?
BJP MP Virendra Singh, however, stood his ground and refused to apologize. MOS Parliamentary Affairs Rajiv Pratap Rodi said to the protesting members that since Singh's remarks had been expunged, carrying on with the protest was not right.
आज हमारे माननीय सदस्य के बारे में जो बात कहा गया, आपने निर्णय लिया है, जो कुछ उन्होंने कहा आपने बाहर निकाल दिया है, लेकिन ये एक बहाना बना के सदन की कार्रवाई बाधित करना ये अनुचित है मैडम।
When their demands were not met, members of the Congress, TMC, RJD and JDU walked out of the House. The remarks by Virendra Singh came during the discussion on the drought situation in the country on Wednesday. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Rajya Sabha referred the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013 to a select committee. The 23-member committee has been instructed to present the report on the last day of the first week of the next session.
The Rajya Sabha on Friday referred the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013 to the Select Committee. Minister for Personal and Public Grievances Jitendra Singh moved the motion to refer the bill to the committee.
I move the following motion that the Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013, further to amend the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, be referred to a select committee of the Rajya Sabha.
The bill provides for stronger punishment for bribery. It will now be examined by a 23-member committee headed by BJP MP Anil Madhav Dave. The motion was adopted by voice vote. The bill was introduced in the House on 1st December. It was moved for consideration on December 3rd when members raised objections to certain clauses. Opposition members sought more clarity, claiming that the provisions of the bill overlapped with the Lokpal Act.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the motion is adopted.
The Prevention of Corruption Amendment Bill 2013 seeks to amend the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. It provides stringent punishment for both the bribe giver and taker. Among other new provisions to check the menace, it also increases the penalty to maximum of 7 years up from the 5 years at present. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
Now, as per United Nations Human Development Index, India ranks 135 among 147 nations on women empowerment. Women and Child Development Minister Maneka Gandhi disclosed the figures while replying to a question in Lok Sabha on Friday. She also said that over 80% of women in India do not receive full antenatal care or ANC during pregnancy. She also stated that the possible reason for low full ANC that includes inaccessibility, illiteracy, ignorance, non-functional facilities in their vicinity, besides myths and beliefs about IFA, consumption and fear of out-of-pocket expenditure. As per the Rapid Survey of Children Report 2013-14, full antenatal care has been received by just 19.7% of pregnant women. The report, titled Women and Men in India 2015, has in fact been criticized largely, and that is one of the reasons why, of course, this report was presented. With that, a quick break here. We'll be back with more news in just a bit. Stay with us.
Hello and a warm welcome to It's My Life. Let's meet Kavita Rao this time.
Rama 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 Viyalo, Ramane Sri Rama Viyalo. I'm a very thorough non-vegetarian. I love chicken and keema.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G में से निकले गांधी जी। गांधी जी ने खाया गन्ना, उसमें से निकला राजेश खन्ना।
Watch me on It's My Life, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. An explosion rocked Kabul when a car bomb went off in a heavily guarded area of the capital housing many foreign embassies and government buildings. Afghan and Spanish forces are still fighting the 7 Taliban attackers believed to be hiding in the area. But one Spanish officer has been killed in the attack, though Spain was quick to dismiss initial reports suggesting that the embassy was under attack.
A Taliban attack near the Spanish embassy in Kabul has further dimmed hopes of peace talks with moderates of the Islamist group. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the car bomb that tore through a foreign guest house in the embassy district, causing several casualties. At least 7 injured were rushed to the hospital. The initial explosion left 2 houses on fire.
انفجاری بودک چرا که بسیار موادش قوی بود و جای بسیار تا جبسن شور داد.
Gunfire was reported immediately following the explosion. The area is still on alert, with Afghan security officials scouring the streets for the 7 suspected insurgents involved in the attack. All streets around the embassies have been blocked, with heavy Afghan and Spanish security presence.
یک موتر کرولا دمی ساحه یک موتر انفجار کرده و تقریبا برقای ساحه را ما قطع کردیم. قطعات عملیاتی ما قطعاتی که مخصوص عملیات شبانه هستند اینا در ساحه حضور پیدا کردیم و اینا جستجو را دمی محل در خانه ها دارند.
Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy said the blast was not directed against the Spanish embassy in Afghanistan but the guest houses nearby. One Spanish police officer has also been killed in the attack. But Rajya said the embassy staff was safe and unhurt.
De hacerlo contra la Embajada de España en Afganistán. Así lo han reivindicado los talibanes. Era un ataque contra algunas casas de huéspedes que estaban muy próximas a la embajada. Lo que podemos decir en estos momentos es que todos podemos ser objetivo de un ataque terrorista, todos, cualquier país occidental, pero en este caso no lo era contra la Embajada de España.
The blast interrupts months of relative calm in the Afghan capital. It comes days after President Ashraf Ghani returned from a regional peace conference in Islamabad, but with 2 major attacks within a week, an attack on the Kandahar airport, and now this. The possibility of reviving peace talks with the Taliban militants certainly looks bleak. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In fact, reports coming in now is that the Taliban siege is over. Officials saying now that all the attackers have been killed. Though, of course, police officers are still combing the area. With that, let's take a look at the news and events that have been lined up for the day today in the day ahead. President Pranab Mukherjee will visit West Bengal to inaugurate the 185th anniversary of the Calcutta Chamber of Commerce in Kolkata. Mukherjee will also inaugurate an exhibition of Sri Shahabuddin Ahmed organized by the Ganges Art Gallery at ICCR in Kolkata. On day 2 of his Assam visit, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will kick off the party's campaign for the Assembly elections with a communal harmony walk in Barpeta district today. He will also interact with prominent academicians and entrepreneurs to have a first-hand reading of what the Congress needs to do. The Mediterranean Region Summit will conclude today. The 3-day summit aimed at enhancing dialogue between countries in a Mediterranean region began in Rome on the 10th of December with a focus on security and refugees. The conference was hosted by the Italian Foreign Ministry and drew together Southern European and Middle Eastern leaders and foreign ministers. Also getting you the latest now on the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's visit here in India. That is, of course, now he's along with Prime Minister Modi and they are meeting business leaders. The two are addressing the Indo-Japan Business Forum. Summit-level talks will happen in about an hour from now. Now, the National Green Tribunal has directed the Delhi government to ensure that no new diesel vehicles are registered in Delhi. This drastic new measure was given after the Green Court cast doubts over the Delhi government's odd-even formula for private vehicles that they plan to roll out for the first 15 days beginning the 1st of January.
The Delhi government's ambitious odd-even formula for cars to counter rising pollution has found another critic. The National Green Tribunal has cast doubt on the formula, saying this move could encourage people to buy 2 cars. The NGT instead has directed the Delhi government that diesel-run vehicles will not be registered in the city with immediate effect.
किसी भी पक्ष से और किसी का कोई भी ऑब्जर्वेशन और कोई ओपिनियन आती है तो वो स्वागत योग्य है, क्योंकि उन सारे चीजों से ही एक अल्टरनेट बिल्ड होता है और उस तरफ हम लोग बढ़ेंगे धीरे धीरे और बढ़ भी रहे हैं. दिल्ली के जो और केंद्र सरकार की गाड़ियों को, सरकारी गाड़ियों को लेकर के उस पर हम विचार करेंगे.
The NGT has also directed the centre and state governments not to buy any diesel vehicles for their departments. According to the Delhi Transport Department, around 400 new diesel-run vehicles are registered in the national capital. There are around 5.5 lakh diesel vehicles plying in the national capital. In total, 88.27 lakh vehicles are registered in Delhi.
डीजल की सारी गाड़ियां जो प्राइवेट गाड़ियां वो चल रही हैं, इवन गवर्नमेंट की गाड़ियां चल रही हैं, चाहे वो 10 साल से भी पुरानी हो चाहे डीजल की गाड़ियां हो. मैं ये मानता हूँ ये सर्जिकल स्टेप्स उठाने की बजाय एक सकारात्मक स्टेप्स हम ये उठाएं कि हमारा जो फॉरेस्ट कवर है दिल्ली का दिल्ली एनसीआर का, उसको बढ़ाया जाए.
The Green Court has also directed all public authorities, corporations, DDA, police and other departments to prepare and submit an action plan for phasing out diesel vehicles, particularly trucks being used by all those bodies by January 6 when the next hearing takes place.
दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट से यही बातें पूछी गई हैं कि किस प्रकार से पॉलिसी पूरी इम्प्लीमेंट होने की बात है, इसके पीछे क्या सोच है, इसके पीछे क्या प्लानिंग है, इसके साथ साथ क्या और पॉलिसीज़ है, क्योंकि अगर गाड़ियां नहीं चलेंगी तो किस प्रकार से लोग कम्यूट करेंगे, किस प्रकार से दिल्ली की जो जनता है वो अपना काम कर पाएगी.
Ever since the Delhi government proposed the odd-even formula for private vehicles for 15 days beginning January 1 next year, there have been questions raised about lack of alternatives and also issues like women's safety. Opposition parties have also been questioning the lack of proper study done before announcing the measure.
किसी को ये नहीं मालूम कि किस चीज से कितना पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, ट्रक से कितना है, गाड़ी से कितना है, स्कूटर से कितना है, टेम्पो से कितना है. नई नई गाड़ियां जो आ रही हैं वो गाड़ियां पोल्यूशन का एक सर्टिफिकेट मिलता है वो लेके आ रही हैं और वो बराबर हर 3 महीने या 6 महीने बाद उसे रिन्यू कराना पड़ता है. तो क्या वो पोल्यूशन सर्टिफिकेट गलत हैं आपके? क्या आपके मापदंड गलत हैं?
The NGT's recommendation comes close on the heels of the Supreme Court agreeing to hear a petition seeking a complete ban on diesel cars in Delhi. The case will come up for hearing on December 15. Earlier in April, the NGT had banned diesel vehicles over 10 years old in Delhi, an important step to fight the rising pollution levels in the world's most polluted city. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, World Powers will lead an overtime push to seal a deal on Saturday aimed at averting catastrophic climate change as sleep-deprived envoys battle in Paris over trillion-dollar disputes, blocking a deal. Meanwhile, India on Friday hit back at developed countries that have been accusing it of refusing to yield ground on emissions and funding. Here's the full report.
The 195-nation conference in Paris was scheduled to wrap up on Friday evening, but weary negotiators lurched well past the deadline and braced for a third straight round of all-night talks after ministers wrestled with a myriad of disagreements. Climate Summit President Laurent Fabius says there has been never a better time to get an ambitious global climate deal, but says it is necessary for governments to compromise.
Toutes les conditions sont réunies pour obtenir un accord universel ambitieux. Et probablement, les observateurs le reconnaissent, les conditions n'ont jamais été aussi favorables, si je puis dire.
Fabius, along with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, acknowledged that the stalemate over the differentiation question between rich and poor countries on their obligations, provision of finance for developing and vulnerable countries, and the underpinning ambition for temperature rise had to be resolved.
On ne retrouvera jamais un momentum, comme on dit, aussi favorable qu'à Paris. Mais maintenant, la responsabilité, elle appartient aux ministres, au pluriel, qui demain auront à faire leur choix.
I have been attending many difficult multilateral negotiations, but by any standard, by far, this negotiation is most complicated, most difficult, but most important for humanity.
Meeting on the sidelines of the negotiations, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar met US Secretary of State John Kerry on Friday in the third interaction in as many days. Javadekar said the success of the Paris Agreement will depend on the spirit of accommodation and flexibility shown by developed countries. Climate activists also stepped up their protests to get negotiators to agree a powerful accord.
This red line action was about telling governments that they are crossing red lines for the people and climate justice every day, and that this agreement will cross red lines as well. It's not good enough in terms of making sure that no one gets left behind.
Meanwhile, the Paris iconic Eiffel Tower was lit up on Friday night with firm messages of encouragement as global climate talks were drawn out past the set Friday deadline. Messages urged negotiators to decarbonize, keep global warming below 1.5 degrees and said no plan B. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take you through some more international news updates in World Wrap. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered the Russian military to take extremely tough action against any threat to its forces in Syria. Putin ordered such targets to be destroyed immediately. He also warned against further provocations without naming Turkey directly. But Turkey and Russia are currently locked in a dispute over the downing of a Russian jet by Ankara. Late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi's son Hannibal has been freed after being briefly kidnapped by an armed group in Lebanon. In a video on Lebanese TV, the captive businessman was seen appealing for more information concerning the 1978 disappearance of the prominent Lebanese Shia cleric Musa al-Sadr. He was freed in the city of Baalbek and dispatched to Beirut. China is to receive a $300 million loan from the Asian Development Bank to help combat dangerous pollution levels in Beijing and surrounding areas. The ADB said that poor air quality had reached a threatening level that it was jeopardizing health and sustainable growth. The loan is intended to cut the region's coal use, among other pollution issues. And now let's turn to sports and in cricket. The ICC has announced the schedule for next year's T20 Cricket World Cup to be played in India. The 6th edition of the tournament will kick off on the 11th of March with the finals on the 3rd of April at the iconic Eden Gardens in Kolkata. The Indian cricket team will open its campaign against New Zealand in Nagpur on 15th of March, followed by a marquee clash against Pakistan on the 19th of March in Dharamshala. Hosts India are pooled with Pakistan, Australia, New Zealand and the Group A winner. Defending champion Sri Lanka are alongside South Africa, West Indies, England and the Group B winner. The 27-day-long event will be played across 8 venues that includes Bangalore, Chennai, Dharamshala, Kolkata, Mohali, Mumbai, Nagpur and New Delhi. More updates from the world of sports now in Sports Beat. India's campaign for the World Super Series finals came to an end after ace Indian shuttlers suffered defeat in their final group matches. Saina Nehwal lost her match 21-16, 16-21, 14-21 to Chinese Taipei's Tai Tzu Ying. In the men's event, Srikanth lost 17-21, 13-21 to Chinese Taipei's Chou Ten-chen in his final Group B match in the round-robin stage. The Indian Aces defeated the Japan Warriors 26-21 on the second day of the Indian leg of the International Premier Tennis League in New Delhi on Friday to maintain their lead at the top of the overall standings. Aces took the early lead when Indians Rohan Bopanna and Sania Mirza secured the first set 6-4 over Mirha Lucic Baroni and Pierre Hughes Herbert. The Japan Warriors won the men's doubles though, Leander Paes and Pierre Hughes Herbert taking the set 6-5. Early in the day, the Singapore Slammers won all 5 sets to beat the Philippine Mavericks 30-22. Rio de Janeiro kicked off a 3-day Olympic tennis warm-up tournament on Friday as the city unveiled its new purpose-built arena for the 2016 Games. The test event, which had been originally scheduled for August, was postponed by a few months due to delays in the construction of the 10,000-seat stadium located in the Brazilian city's Olympic Park. The tournament, dubbed Brazil Masters Cup, features 74 local athletes playing both singles and doubles, as well as wheelchair tennis matches with local Paralympic competitors. UEFA President Michel Platini failed to have his 90-day provisional ban from football lifted. Platini's request was denied by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which means that the Frenchman will not be allowed to attend the Euro 2016 finals draw in Paris on Saturday. Time now for some, that's the latest that's coming in from UEFA. Hot air balloons dominated the Dubai skyline on Friday on the penultimate day of the 2015 FAI World Air Games. Under the rules of the Federation Aeronautic International, it is the premier international multi-discipline air sports event consisting of 11 sports and 24 disciplines. The hot air balloons are part of the Dubai International Balloon Fiesta. And that's all we have for you on the Breakfast News. Have a good day and a great weekend.